Under the vast African sky, the young Ralilela Mandela stood beside his father, the distinguished chief of the Thembu tribe. The landscape of rolling green hills encircled their rural village in the Eastern Cape of South Africa. It was a place where tradition thrived, and so too did the young Mandela, absorbing the customs and narratives of his people. Chief Gadla Henry Mfakaniiswa Mandela, a man revered for his wisdom, often shared lessons in leadership with his son. Leadership, he would say, is not about command but about serving. These words wrapped around Mandela like the gentle breeze that whispered through the brush and trees of the land he called home. The scene shifts, now to a bustling city, far removed from the tranquility of Mandela's childhood village. Here, at the prestigious University of Fort Hare, the young man embarked on a quest for knowledge. It was a place of enlightenment, but also one where the murmur of resistance against the social inequities of apartheid began to stir within him. By candlelight, Mandela devoured books that challenged his thoughts, tested his beliefs, and ignited in him a flame of indignation against injustice that could not be extinguished. His face set with determination, Mandela realized with growing clarity the extent of the harsh injustices imposed by the apartheid regime. This revelation was neither sudden nor subtle. It was a slow awakening to the oppressive structures around him, as vivid as the starry skies of his youth. The need for change became as relentless as the sun's path, marking the beginning of a journey that would not only define his life, but alter the course of a nation. Thus, in these formative years, in the juxtaposition of rural traditions and urban realities, was forged the spirit of one who was destined to lead his country towards freedom and equality. It was the convergence of wisdom, experience, and a realization of injustice that sowed the seeds of Mandela's lifelong struggle for human rights and dignity. Nelson Mandela stood on a wooden platform, looking out over a sea of faces that filled the square before him. It was the 1950s, a time when South Africa was a country divided by race, bound by laws that dictated where one could work, live, and love. Mandela was a man who had chosen defiance over compliance, hope over despair. The air was electric with the fervor of those who had gathered to protest against the cruel chains of apartheid. Mandela's fists were raised high, an emblem of his unwavering determination. His voice, deep and resonant, surged through the crowd like a wave, igniting a fire in their hearts. "We will not bow. We will not break," he declared, each word a beacon of resistance. But shadows loomed. The sound of marching boots grew louder, a foreboding drumbeat. A line of police officers in dark uniforms approached, their faces inscrutable behind helmets and visors. The atmosphere shifted instantly, from hope to tension, as the officers closed in on the peaceful demonstrators. "Stand firm," Mandela cried, his voice cutting through the chaos. Pandemonium erupted as police charged into the crowd, batons swinging, shields colliding with frail ones. Screams pierced the air, bodies scattered, and yet the spirit of resistance lingered, igniting courage amidst the turmoil. The scene transitioned to a stark courtroom, the walls lined with wood that shone under the harsh lights. Seated in the dock was Mandela, his presence commanding, though ringed with stoicism. The air was thick with anticipation. Before him, a judge delivered the verdict with a resounding thud of his gavel. Life imprisonment. Silence followed. Mandela, however, stood resolute, his head held high. His expression was unyielding as he absorbed the weight of his sentence. The final frame brought a shift from the crowded room to the isolation of a dimly lit prison cell on Robben Island. There, behind iron bars, Mandela sat, a solitary figure against the backdrop of the relentless sea. The howling winds carried the salty scent of freedom just outside his reach. Yet, in his eyes, there remained a spark, a flicker of hope that refused to be extinguished. Through each crash of the waves, he dreamed of a nation transformed, a place where the chains of apartheid would be broken and every child born free. The fight for freedom was not over, and while the walls of his cell might confine his body, the spirit of Mandela soared across the vast oceans in the hearts and dreams of those who believed in justice. In the waning light of apartheid, a pivotal chapter in history began to unfold, a narrative etched not only in textbooks, but in the hearts of millions. The sun was setting on the long shadow cast by segregation and inequality in South Africa. Our story embarks with an iconic scene, a moment that transcends time, as Nelson Mandela takes his first steps as a free man in 1990, walking through the prison gates of Robben Island. His face is bathed in sunlight, an ethereal glow that signifies hope and renewal. A great throng has gathered, their collective cheers reverberating like an anthem of liberation, echoing across the nation and beyond. This imagery dissolves into another striking vision, the historic elections of 1994. For the first time in the nation's history, long lines of people converge in extraordinary unity, each cue a testament to a diverse rainbow that now represents South Africa. The lines stretch far beyond the horizon, comprised of black, white, colored, and Indian people alike. Each step towards the ballot box a defiance of the past oppression, each vote a declaration of newfound freedom. In the heart of this tapestry lies the figure of Mandela, a symbol, a beacon, a leader whose every effort was to bridge the chasm of disparity. When the election dust settled and the outcome was unveiled, the third tableau takes form within the presidential office of Nelson Mandela himself. Here, Mandela stands dressed not in the conventional suit of Western leaders, but in a traditional African shirt, illustrating his embrace of his roots and heritage. The room is solemn yet warm, an environment of dignity where walls that once divided slowly crumble. Mandela, ever the statesman, extends his hand, a gesture rich with significance. The hand is extended not just in the routine of political decorum, but as an olive branch to former enemies, a testament to his leadership and commitment to reconciliation. It is the hand that led the way from a dividing past toward a unified future. Under his guidance, the country embarked on a healing journey, fighting past prejudices with a weapon of peace. The challenge was daunting. Years of division couldn't vanish overnight. Yet, Mandela wasn't just a man of ideals. He was a man of action. Between meetings, he would often be seen visiting towns and villages, spreading messages of forgiveness and unity. He knew that true leadership was not just sitting in an office making policies, but touching lives. This journey and transition demonstrate a nation shaken to its core, yet rising resilient from the ashes of its past, guided by a leader whose impact would not easily fade. It is the story of a fight between an individual's dream and a nation's destiny, united through the lens of freedom and leadership.